Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to make a heart pop-up card. And you can see an example of one that we've done already on the screen, but we're going to start with an SVG file that's free for you to download. You just have to go into the membership area and get your template of this particular make. It is free for you to download, but you do have to join our membership, just to let you know. And of course, we have a lot of training programs that you can take in order to learn a lot about card making and other projects right from scratch so that you become the designer. So let's get into our heart pop-up card here. I am just going to click on new because I don't need to save this. I'm just going to replace it. Now, the first thing we're going to do with the heart pop-up, of course, is we're going to upload the image that we are going to need in order to do that. So I just clicked on upload. Let me just cancel this and let's go over it one more time. Click on upload, and then we're going to come over here to upload image. And then I'm going to click on browse, and that browse is going to allow us to pick out the file that we are looking for. So I just happen to know mine is in my monthly makes and in December, and I have a whole series of different files that I can use. I want to use the SVG file, even though, if you take a look at the other ones, I want the pop-up SVG. Hopefully you can see that. And it's going to come up as a cut image with two little pieces. That's exactly what you're looking for. And then we're going to click on upload. And it's that simple to upload the SVG file. I'm going to then click on the file here, and down in the bottom over here, I'm going to add it to the canvas. Now that's the first part of what we want to do when we come into Design Space. When an SVG comes in, quite often it is grouped together, just like the one I'm working on. So the first thing you want to do is come to the top of the Layers panel and click on Ungroup. And you should see everything in order down here. Now we have a little group here called Heart Pop-Up. And that is the blue color, which we'll leave. And they're both cuts, but the one across the middle needs to be a score line. Even though it's indicated as such in the SVG file, they are not coming in with it pre-scored. So you have to know where those score lines are. So I'm just going to click on this, the score line in the layers panel, where it says basic cut. And I know it's a score line because when I do my own designs, I make my score lines red. You see the color red here, but it still says basic cut. Now this is under operations. Just going to change that to a score. And as you can see, it becomes a score line. Now, the last little thing I need to do with this little group is highlight the score line and the card piece and attach it together. Now, I don't need to do anything else with this attached piece. This is the back part of the card where this piece here will glue on. Oh, I shouldn't have moved that. Look at that. I've got all the other pieces behind. So I'm going to Control Z, make sure that I don't move anything out of place. That is the one thing. You want to be working with all the parts and pieces here. Now we have a back of a card here, and I'm going to make it just to change the color on it, just so it's a little easier to see as we work on it. So we'll make that a yellow. We have another basic cut right above it, and that's the green. Now I tend to work in the layers panel when I do stuff like this, simply because I won't mess things up on the canvas itself. Now that's set as a basic cut. That is meant to be drawn on the particular card, or you can have it cut separately if you wish. I'm just going to come over here to operations, and I'm just going to come over here and just put pen. And I'm not going to use black, but I'll put a raspberry color just so we can see it, so we know that that is in the right place. Now, the other thing that is missing here, of course, is these are score lines. And because this design was made by me, I know when I hit my other basic cut coming over here, and they are red, I'm going to come over here and change those to score. And as you can see, everything comes together. Now I'm just going to highlight all of this, and I just want to group it just so I make sure it stays in a group together. And you can see it's a group like this. And the other thing I need to do with this group is make sure I attach everything. And that is all there is to this particular card. Is when we go to cut it, we're going to have a few other things that we're going to need to do with it. So let's save this. And I'm going to call this heart pop-up. Up and whoops, pop-up. And I'm not, actually, I can make it for Valentine's. I can make it for Christmas. I can make it for Mother's Day. So I'll see if I've got one that just says cards, and I do not have a card, so I'm going to make a new collection. This is a great way to keep things in order. I'm just going to create cards, and that's going to go there. Just going to save it. Last thing I need to do here now, of course, is to make it. Today I'm using my Explore 3. So I'm just going to click on Make It. Should come up with two mats, the one with the front part of the card and the one with the second part of the card. So it looks like we are good to go. I'm going to continue, and it should connect with my machine here. Always get canceled just to make it go faster. Cancel this cut, yes. Okay, let's go back to continue. Sometimes when it doesn't connect right away, it's best to cancel and go back. And then it'll start picking it up from there, because what you need to do right here, of course, is check on the proper paper. And there we go. Now, it depends on what you want to do. These are the more popular ones that shows a premium vinyl, all kinds of other things. I tend to use a medium cardstock, but you could also browse all materials, and you could decide that you wanted a heavy cardstock. Just type it in and click on the search button. And there you could pick a heavy cardstock if that's what you want to do. Now I'm going to go back here. I'm just going for a medium cardstock. Now it's going to have me load the scoring stylus and load the fine point blade. And then it'll ask me to put in the Raspberry Pen, and it will go ahead and cut it. Now I've pre-cut mine so that we can now go over to our other camera. Now I've cut this with my Explorer here that you can see. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it off and just move it out of the way. I don't need to be using that right now, because what I have is I've pre-cut everything that I want to work with. So here we go. I decided when we did the samples, I just did them on some medium cardstock. I did a yellow one and I did a pink one with different color on the back. Today I decided what we would do on the back part. Just get rid of my extra little pieces here. On the backing, remember when you pull it off the mat, it's best to roll the mat so that it stays nice and flat. Out of the way. Now for the other one, Michael's, I found this nice shiny paper that I wanted to use. So I'm just going to take the excess off first. And then once again, I am going to roll it off the mat. Be careful you don't rip anything on the pieces that you're working with. Okay, so now we have the back of the card. And I'll find my little score mark. I tend to just push them over till the score line appears. And of course, I want to use my scraper tool. And it's called burnish. And this is what I'm going to do is burnish this, which means just making a nice crisp fold. Looks perfect. Now I'm going to be gluing inside here, and what I'm going to use is a tacky glue. And the reason I use the tacky glue is if I don't get it perfectly on there right away, I can easily move it around so that it fits in perfectly. Now we have the rest of our card, which we want it to pop out. So I'm just going to pull on it just so it releases on the edges here. We do have score lines here and here, and those are going to be important score lines. I'm going to just put my finger in here, move it to the back, and then I'm going to pull up these other score lines, and they will appear. Now I will crisp those up just with my fingers to start. We will do a little more detailed later. Now we have a score line across the bottom, which I'm just going to use my finger and fold. Now, the more difficult part is you want to make sure that these are all separated, all the little spines that are in here. There we go. They're all separated because one side of this is going to be, you want to pull this up and pinch it. There we go. You're pinching it. There we go. And that is to make sure that the heart stands out in the front the way you want it. That looks really good. And now we're going to also pinch on the back part because these are going to fold in the opposite direction. This is where you want to get your fingers in there and just fold them up individually. And then when we go to put it together, it's going to be a lot easier. So this one has a fold. There we go. Fold it up. You may have to make some adjustments to it as you go along just to make sure, because what you want is you want to make sure this heart will fold down. So that's our next little step, is to bring the heart. I want it to fold down. A little tougher. I know you can't see my fingers in here, but I am pushing it down. And I just want to hold it right in there. There we go. Now you can see that we have a heart that's going to pop up. And that's all there is to putting this part of it together. Now, the best part now is you want to burnish these. You want to get them as straight as possible. Don't worry if it's not perfect. You want to make sure that these stay the way you want them. You know, you may to get your fingers in there a little more. And then what it's going to do is we're going to land it right on here. Now you can write a message on here, and the pen I suggest we use is a nice silver one. Now I'm going to glue it first, and then I'm going to add a message. Now, in order to glue it together, of course, you only want it in this place. So let's just take our glue. I'm getting a little low on my glue. And I always lie my glue on the side, and the reason I do that is the fact that pen wants to be right in there, is that I can get the extra little bit on it. And let's see how much glue we've got left in here. There we go. Don't need very much, just enough to hold it down in the corners and the top. And you can add a little extra glue later. Need a lot, but I am getting to the end of this one. So I'm going to put the lid on right away and just leave it like this so that I get the glue settling in. All right, we want to now take this and we want to put it to the back. So the easiest thing, because the bottom isn't glued yet, is to then align things up side to side and push it right into the corner. There we go. And then you can add a little extra push in here. Now, if I didn't have it perfectly straight, because it's tacky, I can move it around, but that looks really good. Now we have folded it this way, so it's going to be a lot easier now to add our extra glue. And I'm going to just add those extra pieces of glue where we need them. Just add a little extra here just to hold it down. Put my lid on. Now, because we folded it before, all I need to do on this one is just fold this one down, and we already have a nice crisp fold in place. Right, one last step for this beautiful card. This is going to turn out really nice. Now you can add some extra decorations in the top, whatever you want for embellishments. And I'm just going to add a nice little message. that is all there is to making this gorgeous little card. I know that you'll have a lot of fun with this one, and it's very, very easy to put together. So until next time, happy crafting.